Hi! Welcome to this part of my guide and review featuring the Solo Adventuring Toolkit. If you haven't seen the other parts of my guide and review, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about early versus late determination. As always, I am going to be reading a few key paragraphs to you, and I'm going to give you my opinions on those paragraphs. When it comes to early versus late determination, each time you generate a quest, you should pick the approach that makes sense for that quest, your game, your tolerance for ambiguity, and your preference as a player and as a game master. If you are truly undecided about whether to use early or late determination, you can simply roll on a table provided in this book. This table appears separately for each plot type in the following sections of the book, because some plot structures lend themselves better to certain kinds of determination. Let's talk about early determination first. This is what you probably assume has to occur. You generate a dynamic plot, identify some roles, and immediately fill those roles with targets. You can certainly do that, and in fact, in many cases, this approach will make the most sense. Knowing who is what in advance will help you play the quest without making blatantly nonsensical discoveries or wasting time. The drawback, of course, is that discovering the big secret of some plots won't have the emotional hit that it would otherwise, since you knew about it already. And yes, I actually do not like early determination that much, perhaps for some aspects of the adventure, but if you start to figure out things before actually playing the adventure or running the campaign, it feels like you are within a sort of stage play or staged scenario. And I feel that is too artificial. When I play a role-playing game, I actually like to experience the adventure as if it was actually happening. Let's talk about late determination. In most cases, you can choose not to immediately determine the target of a role as you are defining a new plot. Knowing that a role exists is sufficient in many cases for you to start pursuing the story. Early determination works best for abstract mystery plots or roles where the actor who fills them would not be immediately known to the player character if the quest were being played out in a traditional gaming table. Remember that actors in this solo adventuring toolkit are treated as objects, places, people. They could be anything. If you are using late determination, you will have to assign an actor and reveal that information to yourself, to the role eventually. Do so when it makes sense. Typically, this means that you'll make the determination when your player character has come by the information in-game. So yes, late determination could require a bit more effort or work as you try to figure out how different elements that are dynamically generated play out into a quest or more quests within a story or several plotlines. Now, when it comes to late determination and clue relevance, in the section discussing clues, it is addressed that when you intend to search for a clue in a location or on the corpse of a non-player character, you must know whether the place you are searching is relevant to the quest for which you are searching for clues. If you are using early determination, you can easily make that assessment and pick the right column to use on the table when determining the probabilities involved. However, if you are using late determination, you won't necessarily know if the person you are pickpocketing has anything to do with the quest you are trying to find clues for. If, based on the information that your player character has revealed in-game, you have good reason to believe that the location or non-player character in question is indeed relevant to the quest you are finding clues for, you may assume that they are relevant for the sake of the role to find clues. When it comes to late determination and clue discovery, no matter what approach you use, if you do find a clue in a location or on a non-player character, you may thereafter correctly assume that they do have something to do with that quest and are therefore relevant. You may also take this opportunity to assign the location or non-player character to a role in that quest that hasn't been yet filled, because you're using late determination. If you are searching a location or non-player character for clues relative to a certain quest, and you do not know if the place or person being searched is relevant, and you do not find a clue, then that location or character is confirmed to be not relevant. When you make your late determination assignation of targets to a role, this location or non-player character is disqualified from selection as a result. Alternatively to the above, you may simply randomize whether the target of your search is relevant before you make your search roll. You have a table to determine that. If you have good in-game reason to suspect, but not quite know for certain, that the target of your search is relevant, you may make the roll on the table with an advantage, that is, you roll twice and you select the preferred result. So for example, maybe your adventure, if you use early determination, you make some rolls, and you discover that a mausoleum is vital to finding out the truth behind some sort of mystery. You already know that it's a mausoleum, so it all depends on the results of your quest, of your search. Maybe you find the mausoleum hidden within a park. But what if you are using late determination? You do not know that the mausoleum is going to be a key piece to solving the mystery, the puzzle, etc. So you're making your rolls within the park, and maybe it's not a mausoleum. Maybe it's a hidden treasure vault, or perhaps a bunker. It could be anything that you want. So it's all about your preference and what you find within that mausoleum or bunker or vault or whatever. Maybe you're looking for a key because you used early determination to discover that a key is needed for the ancient door of this temple or that citadel, etc. That would be using early determination. But if you're using late determination, maybe it's not a key. Maybe you need some sort of sigil, you need to write something down, to use some sort of magical glyph on the door. Maybe it's not to activate some sort of door. Maybe you need some sort of document or papers to prove the innocence of someone. So like I said, it's all about your preference. I think that if you have a solid setting or some very interesting lore, you can use early determination. Maybe there is this legend of the ancient statue or weapon or book or staff of who knows what. You could use that thematic element as a clue to unravel a greater mystery. But if you have a very loose setting, or even if you have a well-established setting but you still want to surprise yourself with everything that you discovered during the course of your journeys, then you can use late determination and you won't know if you're looking for a specific site or a very particular object. Now when it comes to actor tracking, as you populate your solo adventuring game world with actors, it will be essential to keep track of them. Items, people, places, factions, etc. In addition to being good world building from a game master point of view and good note taking from a player's perspective, noting these things down is essential to the actor or roles or targeting aspect that's at the center of generating dynamic plots. Whether you use the actor trackers in the appendix of this book, you write them down on paper, or create a spreadsheet to manage things. You use whatever method makes sense for you to make sure that you write down actors as you become aware of them. Now concerning quest tracking, as with actors, keeping track of your quests is going to be essential as well. This aspect of RPG bookkeeping is even more important as a solo player for several reasons. First, it's just you. If you forget something essential, you're screwed, and you have to start over again with that story. Second, remember that you're playing the role of both the game master and several players. Pessimistically, that means you have to do everything that around 5 separate people would normally do. But of course, this is simplified if you are only controlling a single player character. Third, remember that in a traditional gaming context, the game master keeps track of all of this stuff anyway, so asking yourself to do so as a solo adventurer isn't that far off base. Finally, since it's just you, you're free to have as many quests active at a time as you feel comfortable with. Though most gaming groups start to get confused or overwhelmed once their party has picked up more than a handful of things to do, you as an individual player have no such restriction. There's nothing stopping you from rolling up to 30 different quests and then picking which one strikes your fancy the most to begin with. And this concludes this part of the guide and review. This details about late and early determination, are very useful because some people want to prepare many things beforehand. Of course, this requires work in several degrees. For example, if you decide to use early determination, you will have to spend more time preparing for the adventure beforehand. You'll have to make sense of the background, the lore, the setting, and then you start to choose that, oh, I will need to find this item, I will need to speak to this non-player character, I will have to visit this adventuring site. So it's all about preparing things beforehand and accepting that you won't experience too many surprises when it comes to the vital things that you need to discover, or the people that you need to talk to, or the items that you need to find. All of that is going to be spoiled beforehand. This doesn't mean that there won't be other surprises along the way, but those key elements are going to be spoiled beforehand. Now, when it comes to late determination, my preferred method, I think you will experience many surprises because you do not know what's going to happen within a certain quest, the clues, the places, the people, etc. Although, whenever possible, I would recommend that you use late determination with some elements of early determination. If you think that it's very important or crucial to play a certain theme or a thematic element within a campaign, within an adventure or scenario, then you may decide to determine some things before starting the whole thing. Or perhaps between acts or between adventures, it's all up to you. Thank you for watching this part of the guide and review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.